The Ghost Rockets of 1946 and Humanoid Encounters. Saga's UFO magazine for fall 1974, pictured here, has a piece of, the writer says, my former pal Lucius Farish, RIP, and UFO historian Jerry Clark, The Ghost Rockets of 1946. The 7-page article presented, as was Farish's and Clark's wont, more than a representational account of the many cigar or rocket-shaped sightings over Sweden after World War II and other countries as well. And in their article, the usually cautious writers mention an incident that allegedly took place during the 1946 sightings. However, the supposed event was not published until 1971, well after many flying saucers UFO reports that contained ingredients that are found in the purported 1946 report. In May 1946, just outside Ängelholm in southern Sweden, witness Gösta Karlsson, a well-known industrialist, while out walking, spotted a disc-shaped object with a cupola that appeared to be a cabin with oval windows. Above it was a mast, like a submarine periscope. Underneath the disc was a big oblong fin which stretched from the center to the edge of the underside. There was also 2 metal landing legs. A smaller ladder reached to the ground from a door beside the fin. The object was approximately 53 feet in diameter and 13 feet from top to bottom at the middle. The witness said he knew this because he measured the marks on the following day. Quote, there were a lot of holes around the edge of the disc, like those of a turbine, and jet beams darted from the holes, which burned the grass when the object departed. The light came from the mast. It was about 17 feet in height, and 3 antennae were suspended from its top. Something like a lampshade was hanging from the mast, the lampshade shining with a strange purple light that lit up the object and the ground. The light flowing and pulsating like water from a fountain, end quote. Karlsson then says that he saw a man in white oak coveralls who raised his hand to halt Karlsson from coming closer. The man was about as tall as the witness, but thinner, and there were others like him, but no one said a word. It seemed as if they had just finished repairing a window because they put their tools away and looked at Karlsson. There was a guard, 3 men and 3 women who came out of the object, in all 11 persons. They all wore short black boots and gloves, a black belt around the waist, and transparent helmets. The woman had ashen-colored hair. They were all brown-colored, as if sunburned. Karlsson tried to walk closer, but the guard raised his hand again. The guard had a black box on his chest, which was suspended by a chain around his neck. It looked like an old box camera. He turned toward it, which Karlsson thought he was going to take a picture. Karlsson heard a click on his forehead lamp and found later that the lamp did not work, despite having a new battery. Quote, one of the women came out of the cabin with an object in her hand, throwing it beyond the light, and Karlsson heard her laugh. The thrown object was retrieved by Karlsson, and an investigation of it in 1971 showed nothing exceptional. It was composed mostly of silicon and its shape altered by the witness into a staff. Karlsson thought the disc-like object was a military device, and after leaving the area, he went back by a different route to see the object again, but saw, quote, a bright red light ascending into the air. The light was streaming out of the turbine holes of the craft, which had risen with the whining sound above the treetops. After reaching about 1,400 to 1,600 feet, it slowed down briefly and wobbled. The red light growing rapidly brighter, turning purple just before the object flew away at a tremendous rate of speed, end quote. Now, how does this tale end up in the middle of the judiciously rendered account of 1946 ghost rocket hysteria? It's an odd insertion by 2 of ufology's most sensible writers and investigators. The story, if true, and I doubt it is, it has a fictive patina, is grist for Jose Caravaca's distortion theory. For me, the whole ghost rocket block of sightings are suffused with hysterical overtones. Farish and Clark listing dozens of rocket observations over Europe in the time frame not just Sweden or Norway. The aftermath of the war presented anxieties and fears, mostly about the Soviets, and was rife for hysterical reaction by those who were encumbered by the war, or worse. That people saw rockets, not flying saucers or spaceship, goes to the reality of the Nazi V2 deployments of the war and the idea that the Soviets got hold of the manufacturing facilities of the Germans when the war ended. The ghost rocket scenarios are lumped into the flying saucer madness of the 1950s, along with the late 1890s airship stories and the mysterious airplanes of the 1930s accounts as support for or as preludes to what UFO buffs think is their mystery to solve. UFOs from outer space, a hysterica not unlike that which allowed Swedes and their neighbors to think they were seeing rockets all over the place in 1946. This was by UFO Conjectures and Sun-Bended Reality. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.